This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast covering Monday Night Raw. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Matt Morgan, and, ladies and gentlemen, he said he was going out for cigarettes. We thought he abandoned us forever. But Raj Giri is back on the Wrestling Inc. podcast.
I got lost on the way, but it's good to be back.
Good to have you, man.
That's what they all say. Then you leave us alone for 15 years of our life. Right. And then I become a potential lottery draft pick by being a McDonald's All-American. And now you want to come back in my life. I see how
I've been hearing good things, so I thought I'd check back in.
Yes. Dion asking, who's the new guy? For not familiar, Raj Giri, the owner and proprietor of Wrestling Inc.
Yeah. I've been in India for like 2.5 weeks. Got back, still a little jet lagged. That last hour of Raw was, it was good, but I've been up at like 3 or 4 in the morning every day, so it's getting pretty tired. But I thought it was a pretty good episode.
Well, if you haven't been watching, I mean, Matt, what did you think tonight? It felt to me like half of this was a rerun and the other half was pretty cool.
I like the ending.
Yeah,
I like the spot. I like Buddy Murphy getting some shine like that.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it would have been a little more effective if he was coming off of a win. I don't think he should have beaten Aleister Black, but somebody else. Because he's just coming off of so many losses, and then to be put in this main event heel faction, I just think a couple wins would I think made it more effective. But I still like it. I like Buddy in that group, and it's giving him something.
Yeah, those are three out of the 4 people that they're completely taking from the mid card, if not the beginning of the card, and turning into a main event act. And it says a lot about their faith in Seth Rollins as well.
Yeah. Did you just see Corey Graves' tweet? Is that about Raw tonight?
What is that?
He tweeted 15 minutes ago, right when Raw went off the air, "Wow, F this, fire me, I'm already fired."
That's a Ric Flair line from Nitro in the 90s. So,
gotcha. Well, everyone is freaking out about it on Twitter right now. People not deep with. It's a weird time with social media, man. This weekend was just cluster. I don't know. Let's not even get into all that. Let's talk about Raw tonight. Opened up with Randy Orton getting the ring. This bothered me that it took 5 minutes before Randy Orton started speaking tonight. By the time they had him get to the ring, they teased what was upcoming, and then we saw Randy cutting this promo against AJ Styles, AJ coming out, Drew McIntyre coming out, and this triple threat match. What did you think of that, Matt?
Awesome. Love Drew McIntyre being featured here.
Yeah.
I haven't caught up on all the Raws since I've been gone, but did Drew McIntyre turn babyface, or he's clearly a babyface now, but did he turn, or is he just now a babyface?
It just was random. He just randomly turned face.
Yeah. But it's cool.
Seriously.
I mean, yeah. I was gonna say I didn't see anything that, he kicked AJ Styles or anything.
Right. There wasn't like this 1 week where he just went, "That's it. I'm a good guy." You know what I mean? It was just this. What was it? A promo, right, Glenn? He just.
Yeah, with the dare me to do it, dare me to do another kick, and just getting the audience behind him. It was kind of cool. I'm sorry.
Which is a heel thing to do, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like the fans turned him in a way.
It was kind of the rare time when it worked. Remember how they wanted Roman to be for a long time, sort of like this Han Solo tweener? And I think with Drew, he just sort of stumbled into it. I think everyone thinks he's cool, but I think this works better than that weird sort of I'm berating you like some sadistic life coach during a match thing. I think this is a better gimmick for him.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell he's he's doing his best too. He's trying to get the crowd riled up. So this will be. I wonder if they got something big in the plans for WrestleMania for him, because it seems interesting, the timing for his face turn.
So we had AJ going on in the promo about doing Randy's moves last week. We had Randy do the Styles Clash tonight on AJ. I mean, is this as cool as they think it is? Clearly, I mean, in the video games, I love when you can steal your opponent's finisher, but is this actually cool in a match?
I don't think so. I think if it's done the right way, you play a game of one-upmanship with it, and maybe that's what they're trying to do, but I don't think it's working. I think it's just corny.
Yeah, I think if they had a big one-on-one match, like at the Rumble, and they were doing it in that match, like on a big stage, then I think that would be cool. But just here on a random Raw and Orton hitting the Styles Clash, AJ kicking out, first of all, I don't think anyone should kick out of the Styles Clash unless it's in a big match on a big show. But
well, here's the thing: if this was real, right? If this was a real fight or a boxing match, let's say, or MMA fight, I know it's wrestling, but let's check that off for 1 second. If this was real life, okay, and I'm fighting you, Raj, and you've won all your street fights in the mean streets or wherever the hell you're from, with this nasty left hook punch, right? And I'm winning all my fights where I am in the mean streets along with Florida with an overhand right or a headbutt, let's say. So me and you eventually get into a fight at a bar. Would you stop in the middle of the bar and go, wait a minute, what's Matt use again? Oh shoot, Matt does lots of headbutts. I read in the police report. I read he did an overhand right in 5 out of 7 of his fights where he got locked up for it. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. And it's going to mess with his head. That's what I'm going to do. Instead of taking advantage when I see Matt kind of, getting, on Dream Street a little bit from some of my punches and my jabs, instead of knocking him out and winning the fight, I'm going to take a chance and use some things I've never used a day in my life in the middle of the fight. And let's see if it works. You would never do that. You would never do that. And to answer your question about Styles Clash, because it's not AJ Styles Clash, it's still protected that he didn't get beat by it. Yeah. If that makes sense.
I don't know.
It's so stupid. None of it makes sense, if we're being honest.
But if Stallone taught us anything, it's that turn your hat around, you're going over the top. That's all it takes. You get that one move in arm wrestling and you can win any match. Why wouldn't professional wrestling be the same? But using that logic, why wouldn't everyone just use the most devastating moves?
Well, you wouldn't do any of this. It's not even the devastating part. It's the part that you would not stop in the middle of a fight to go, this will get in my opponent's head.
Right.
I see he does a lot of headbutting in his fights. I'm going to start doing that to him now because that will mean more and mess with his head more. That's so stupid. No, nobody would do that.
In the video game, it's fun because it gets boring as F using the same finisher all the time.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I just feel like Orton and AJ, they're too big, two of the biggest stars on the brand. Mm-hmm. I'd want more than them just, wanting to copy each other's moves.
Yes. And they should be giving you more. Yeah. Yes.
But Drew winning this match was cool. I think he came out of it looking like $1 million.
If that was what's the word I'm looking for? The phrase is a phrase for this. If that was the one redeeming quality, whatever the word is, yes, then great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're giving Drew that babyface push. It made total sense that he won. I wish they would have had a fourth person in this match again. I feel like with AJ and Orton, they're in a feud. Two of the bigger stars. I'd rather not see either of them lose right now. Until their feud is over with, have a fourth person in that could take the fall. But, again, that's nitpicking. I thought overall it was what it was supposed to be, and Drew getting the win made all the sense in the world.
So we went from this tonight. They leaned heavily on Monday Night Messiah. Man, if you thought last week was much, this week there's merch up. I think it's telling at the end with Buddy Murphy joining him. I think he's going to have 12 apostles by the time this is all done. The way he was talking tonight. What do you think of this character and the way Rollins is selling this now, Matt?
Better than what I first thought. I mean, if I'm being honest. I still think it's, again, corny to continue to call him the Messiah, whatever, but because of the faction and what they're doing with him by taking, again, 3 mid-card acts and making them meaningful, says they trust him a lot. And I'm for that. I'm definitely for when they take mid-card acts and try to get them to do something better, because we bitch and complain week after week. Why don't they do this with this guy? Why don't they do this with this girl? Why does she always... I'm telling you, she could be a main eventer. I'm telling you, he could be a main event talent. They just give him a chance. Well, they're watching them give him 3 talents that we didn't think they'd give a real chance to. A chance now. So we got to give them credit on that. It has nothing to do with the Messiah stuff, okay? Yeah. But it has to do with, we just got to, give them a tip of the cap for doing the right thing and taking 3 very good talents and trying to turn them into something more.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I also think you don't want to add too many mid-card talents, because ultimately when you have too many, it brings the group down. Like no one remembers Edge and Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins as stable, right? You remember Legacy. You remember Evolution, groups like that. So you don't want to add too many more people. Buddy Murphy, I think, is a good choice because he can go. Maybe one more, like a Batista type of guy who
they still need a big guy, yeah.
Yeah, like a big guy who has world title potential, and just leave it at that. But I like that Seth is, tweaking his character. Monday Night Messiah doesn't roll off the tongue for me, but I like that Seth is trying something new, trying to change his character. It kind of reminds me, this new character kind of reminds me of CM Punk with the Straight Edge Society.
Oh, definitely.
It's got a lot of, like a little Straight Edge Society hangover. But it's good to see Seth in that role. It seems like he's comfortable finally after kind of floundering as a babyface for so long.
But Straight Edge Society at least had a mission statement to it. If you think about Dark Order, all these other factions, what's their purpose? What's their goal? You can't just say, to take over the show. Straight Edge Society, CM Punk, I think having a unified message is what made it cool.
Yeah, and it's still early. But yeah, we say that all the time and it never materializes. But yeah, right now I guess it's just to be a stable.
Okay, Matt. So Ricochet tonight had a match against Mojo Rawley. Good for Mojo or bad for Ricochet?
Terrible for Ricochet. Bad for Ricochet.
He won.
Yeah, but he should be beating better talents than this. Come on. He just should. I figured this guy when he first debuted, and if you were to ask me these many months or a year later, however how long it's been since he's debuted, would he be working Mojo Rawley? No.
Right. He's kind of an afterthought right now. Whereas, when he won the U.S. title a few months ago, it seemed like he was on that ascension, and he dropped it quickly, and they've never kind of put him back on track. So, yeah, I don't know. At least he won. That is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the dancing stuff he was doing? Has he been doing that the last few weeks?
With the what? With the what now?
Like he was doing these little dance moves in the ring. Did it like at the beginning and at the end, which for Ricochet, I would expect him to be doing much cooler stuff. And he was doing with his hands doing like a little dancing a few times.
Oh, actually, here's a good question, though, to tie into your viewpoint on this, Matt. What was the most depressing win you ever had? Where you're like, yeah, it's a victory, but I just went over this guy. Like, what was the one where you're like, this is where I'm at, really?
Tag team championships for TNA, my second time. Wasn't depressing.
Yeah.
It was, they continue to think that this will appease me, shut me up, versus me continuing to talk to Russo about what are we doing to get me to the world championship, because this is not the right path. This is a very big veer off the road here. But bro, we're gonna put the tag titles on you. You and Crimson are gonna be like the freaking Road Warriors, but bigger. And those types of situations, not to be a little spoiled brat, but no offense to Crimson either. But it just that's about the similar type thing I could compare it to from me personally.
Well, even on the commentary tonight, Lawler, it sounded like he couldn't even remember the Ricochet thing. He's got the video game moves. It was they seem to kind of be forcing the hype for Ricochet tonight. I think Ricochet is probably the biggest main roster blown opportunity in recent memory.
No, he's not. Nakamura is. God, Sami Zayn, I can argue, maybe
really?
Is.
Neville.
Yeah. Those guys had a lot more time and stock put into them in NXT than Ricochet did. Especially Nakamura.
In some sense, Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens to a degree. Sure, I agree with that. Samoa Joe to a degree.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot of blown opportunities. Sasha Banks, Bayley.
Oh, Bailey. There you go.
Man. Okay, so, probably harder to point out the success stories on the main roster in recent memory than it is
Which
the
is
failures.
BS.
Yeah.
Such BS.
So Ricochet won that match. After we went backstage to the Street Profits, these poor guys. I mean, like you said, Matt, better than taking bumps, but them and AOP are the hottest tag teams on Raw, and they didn't get, I don't know. Compare that to the tag match we saw later in the night. I mean, we'll talk about it, but yeah, I think the Street Profits thing keeps going. I just don't think they have a plan for them.
Just too bad, because none of these tag teams are over on Raw right now, and the Street Profits are the most over thing, tag team on the brand. So do something with them. Get rid of the Viking Raiders for now. Not, at least move them into something else. Get them to finally start getting reaction before getting them back in your top feud.
They get zero free. Yeah, we will. Go ahead.
Okay, Charlotte Flair versus Sarah Logan. Now, I know we talked about this. It was good that Sarah beat down Charlotte last week or the week before.
Right.
So that they had this match. It didn't really turn into much before Charlotte got a decisive victory and then kicked the crap out of her after the match, after she put her robe on. So does this help Sarah in the long run, Matt?
I don't know, and here's why. Because how do we know this wasn't a test?
Okay.
By having her do it twice with her now. This is twice. And I've seen times where Vince will put people in these situations in which they'll lose. And it was all to... In fact, you know what? We just saw it the other night, WWE Network, talking about Isaac Yankem when he wrestled like Undertaker. Good things can come out of that. And they do these weird tests every once in a while. Sarah Logan is too damn tall, too damn strong, and too damn different looking, in my opinion. And a money feud for Charlotte maybe one day for them just to throw her away like that and just have two wins. You know what I mean? It has to go somewhere. Maybe not right away, but I felt like this was a test to see where she was in her development. I don't know. I hope.
Usually when someone's beaten so, handily and then beaten up again after the match, that's usually we got nothing for like either they're leaving the company or they've got nothing for them. Yeah.
Really quick. Fun Times with Games donated $1.99. Thank you. And asked, why are the Viking Dorks the champs? I agree. I totally agree with this, that they are dorks, and I don't know why they're champs either, my friend. I got nothing.
And Gary Paradise, $1.99 to say, suck it, Raj. LOL, JK, my brother. Welcome back, man.
Yeah, thank you, Gary.
Yes.
I will say this about Sarah. Her new gear, I don't think is doing her any favor. She looked like, Charlotte looks like a star in there, and she looked like someone straight out of the Indies. As goofy as the Viking stuff looked before, at least it stood out. It looked more big time, big league, as opposed to what she's wearing now. She looked like she just, got done watching a movie and ran to the ring.
It's a little creator wrestler, like her look. It's not polished. I think they could do something cooler with the concept. If she wants to do sort of a wilderness or hunter theme, I think there's a lot cooler things they could do as opposed to what she's currently got going on.
Yeah.
After that, we saw, Kevin Owens talking to Samoa Joe ahead of tonight's main event, the fist fight. We went out to the ring and saw Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman doing a southern dialect, telling people to respect the champ, and then said, you know what, screw it after the booze. His client does not suck, and they were both leaving to go out of the ring. But then they got back in the ring. Heyman cut a variation on his usual promo, talking about Brock at the Royal Rumble. And then, I'll argue this was the high point of the night. R-Truth came out to cut a hell of a promo about entering the Royal Rumble to take out Paul Heyman. Realizing Paul Heyman was not going to be in the Royal Rumble, but Brock Lesnar was, then undeclaring himself for the Rumble. And this went on for quite some time. This was like a 5-minute segment during which R-Truth, I don't think I've ever seen Brock Lesnar laugh this much or look like he was having this much fun in a segment.
R-Truth is entertaining, man. He's a good promo too if he wants when they want to make him one.
Yeah, R-Truth, he can go back and forth with me sometimes, where sometimes I'm like, all right, this is starting to run its course, and then tonight it's back to like, this was pretty hilarious.
Me too.
Yeah, and I thought, at first when he was starting out, I was like, and then it just got better and better. Paul Heyman ripping on Kentucky, which I was actually born in Kentucky. So
really
ripping on my home state. I know, yeah,
wow.
A lot of people wouldn't have guessed that, but yeah, I was born in Kentucky. I thought this segment would just really worked. I thought Truth undeclaring himself. The Rumble match was great. And yeah, Brock was just awesome at this. So this was, in many ways, this was the highlight of the show for me.
Yeah. When Brock did attack R-Truth at the end there and was looking at the 24/7 title, Matt, did you think Brock was going to say, screw it, and pin Truth to become the 24/7 champion and be Brocky 2 belts?
No, Brocky 2 belts. No, I thought there was more of a chance of him finding a way to rip the belt in half.
Yes.
I thought they could do that too and retire the title. That was my other thought.
Yeah, just chuck it in the crowd.
Like I thought for sure he was going to do something with that title, so it's never more again. Yeah.
This was great though tonight. I mean, this is what they need to be doing for Brock. Think about what haven't we done? How can we make this different? I'll take this over Heyman just going out there and spouting his usual spiel.
Yeah.
But this is very, very delicately done. R-Truth hit this out of the park.
Yeah.
If this was done with anybody else, this would not have worked.
Yeah, and before Brock attacked him, R-Truth was saying, "What's up? What's up?" And then after Brock got the mic, he goes, "That's what's up." And Brock, the few times he takes the mic, it's always gold. Everything he says.
It reminded me of his face-off with Heath Slater like 3 years ago. The "I don't give a shit about your kids" promo.
Yes.
Yes. It's gold.
Great.
Yeah. This was the highlight of the show for me.
Yeah. But after that, Mojo Rawley attacked Truth when he was being helped up the ramp, and Mojo is now the 24/7 champion. So from a match with Ricochet to the 24/7 title, the Mojo story continues in WWE.
And who knows?
Don't care.
Yeah. R-Truth might have already regained it. They've been doing, like so many of these 24/7 changes after the show. So we'll see. But
I'm telling you, man, I would take Truth in a feud with Brock. Figure it's no more or less believable than anyone else they've put up against him, especially if Brock's going to just go over eventually.
Yeah. It's weird with Mojo. If you listen to him cut a promo, he can do it. He's good. He's got size. He's got a good look, but that ring outfit just looks horrendous. He just has not been able to piece it together. And it's man, that clock is ticking, because the more he gets stuck in this 24/7, quagmire, the worse it's going to be for his career.
More damage he gets.
Yeah. After that tonight, we had Bobby Lashley versus Rusev. Of course, Lana was out. Yeah.
Lashley looked freaking jacked tonight, like extra jacked.
I don't think the problem with this storyline is Lashley's physique. He's looking good.
No, it's not. I'm just pointing something out. I'm not saying does it make it good or not. I'm just pointing it out that there's somebody who takes the gym seriously. He's in a main event angle. He's not coming in out of shape. Ain't wearing a t-shirt. And is putting every single ounce of this opportunity out, into the gym as possible to make sure that's what you should be doing when you're in a main event. You shouldn't be getting in crappier shape. You should be getting in better shape. And so many of these other guys don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks like a superstar. And
it's what a real athlete does.
And I'm going to try and be positive about the fact that this is one of the few stories they're really telling right now. Like it or not, I just wish they would have more of this, because if this were shorter and there were 10 different stories to follow in an episode of Raw, I think that it wouldn't be judged as harshly if there was more going on.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with this storyline. As bad as a lot of the segments are, as cheesy as it is, this has been like the only long-term storyline that they've done, and it's been a hit as far as ratings go. The ratings always go up for these segments. So
we can't say anything. We can't say, hey, it's just not our cup of tea. That's the best we can say, because the ratings prove a different story.
Yeah, and imagine if you do this kind of storytelling more often and do it, not corny, you know, see where that takes you. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, this just shows like storylines and characters are, people care about that more than, just matches.
Kevin Langhoff with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Kevin. Saying, imagine Brock gets eliminated by the second entrant. Be cool if it was Kofi getting revenge. Goldberg 2.0. I doubt that will happen, but I would not be upset if it did.
Yeah, me either. But that ain't happening.
Brock doesn't work long matches. I mean, that's one thing we've seen. I don't see him being in there for the whole hour. So I could see him getting eliminated earlier more than staying that late.
Yeah.
After tonight, what if he just goes in there and yells psych and then walks out of there just to see it Mania, points to the sign and leaves?
Good.
Part for the course. I did see that. He doesn't care.
It'll be interesting to see who he faces, I still think it'll be Edge, but we'll see.
Okay. So Bobby Rusev. Lana is in Bobby's corner. Now, I thought Liv Morgan declared she was going to be in Rusev's corner last week. So I was surprised they waited to have Liv come down at ringside and get into it with Lana. When she ultimately did, Lana took a drink from a quote-unquote fan and threw it in Liv's face. That distraction caused Bobby to sweep Rusev's leg. It was weird. It looks like he was trying to go for a low blow, but he took his leg out and then get the pin and the win with the spear after the distraction. So next week, this is going to be a mixed match with Bobby and Lana together versus Rusev and Liv.
I didn't think it made sense for Lana to want to have this match, actually, afterwards. She got the last laugh on Liv. She threw friggin' the drink right in her face. Her guy won because of it. It made no sense for her to want to have a piece of Liv, I thought.
Exactly. I agree with you, Matt. It seemed like the baby faces got punked. They should be the ones that were really wanting the revenge, and the heels are trying to avoid it since they got the better of them this week. The way Lashley beat Rusev, I don't know. It just and kind of keeps getting the better of him. Makes me think that Rusev, he did change his Twitter bio to soon to be a free agent. So
yeah, I think they're just playing us with all that, though.
It could be, but there has been no word of him signing a new contract, and his contract was coming up.
Huh.
We're not giving him any big wins, in a feud like this, to keep him hot, you'd probably want to, so we'll see.
AEW already has too many wrestlers they're not using.
There's also New Japan, ROH now is trying to come back. Impact is, they're throwing some money into the product. I mean, I think Rusev to Impact, no offense, would be a big step down for him right now at this point, but
you think?
No, but they can't afford to pay him WWE money.
It would be a fall down a flight, about 5 flights of stairs for Rusev if you want that.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think the top paid talent on Impact or ROH is making currently?
I don't know. I'm so out of that loop. I swear to God, I'm not trying to sound cool, guy. I used to work there. I love wrestling there.
Yeah.
It was a different company when I wrestled there, I would argue. But still, I don't know. I have no clue about anything that's even happened there. That's how out of the loop I am. Same with Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I'd say the top guy is probably low 6 figures in Impact. ROH, Marty Scurll just re-signed. He's also got a creative position. He's on the booking committee. And, according to Dave Meltzer, it's the most lucrative contract in ROH history. So he's apparently making WWE main roster money for only working about 40 dates a year. So
yeah, but who on the main roster? Like Mojo money? I mean, not AJ money.
No, but now like the low end is, starting to become $250,000.
Why would you want a job on creative if you're an active wrestler? So I'm confused by that.
I mean,
I'm not being a smart ass. Why?
Right. I mean, I could see some, a lot of people love playing fantasy booker and thinking they can make the product better. And apparently one of the things he wants to do is try to forge a relationship between ROH and AEW. which I don't see any reason why AEW would do that. I don't see what they have to gain from it. It's not like
nobody. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. I see no benefit for AEW. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
What did you think of the promo that Rusev and Liv cut after this match, Matt?
As Raj would say, it was there.
It was there. He kept saying, waste of my breath, waste of my breath.
Wasn't Rusev's strongest promo, that's for sure.
I want so much
Liv
better.
looked scary. She looked, she had that intense look.
We'll see. We'll see how this pans out. I'm cautiously optimistic. But let's talk about the match of the year thus far, the Viking Raiders versus the Singh brothers. Okay, so why you've got AOP on one end of the spectrum, the most legitimate badasses as far as tag teams go. I think they're more credible than Usos, any other tag team in the company right now. AOP looks like they could FS up more than anyone else in the business right now. So you've got them on one end, and then you've got Street Profits, which are just charisma machines that can also put on a pretty damn entertaining match. It's like, why aren't these two teams battling for the titles instead of the cosplayers and the Singh brothers, which is like, this is like Breezango light, this gimmick at this point.
Well, this is meant to be just a squash. It's not meant to be a big feud or anything. It's just a placeholder. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, Viking Raiders, they've been doing these squashes for months now and really making these guys look strong. And the fans do not care. I think
they don't care.
Yeah, ever since the beginning when they were called the Viking Experience, it just never really got their footing. I mean, with the goofy, I mean, Matt, you've talked about it week in, week out, and I agree with you. Their outfits, they just look goofy. Their promo that they cut at the beginning of the match was so stereotypical, like 1980s, like C-level heel.
Right.
They just, I mean, they're just like a world apart from what they were doing in NXT.
Hey, really quick, Justin Lopez from the Super Chat just donated $5. Thank you very much, Justin. He said, I think the Street Profits are on their way to hosting Mania at this point. I sadly think that WWE would think that's like a magically great idea to have them host it. You know they would. If they thought, what do you call it? Kofi and them
New Day
could host it. If New Day can host it, Street Profits definitely could. You know, it's WWE's terrible thinking. Let's hope not. Let's hope these guys get a damn match.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a 4-way tag match. Maybe like a 4-way match like it was in what was a 3-way turned into a 4-way when the Hardys came out years ago.
Guys, really quick, back to Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
Did you see during the beginning of their match, did you see the two guys in the blue suits? Like
in the
guys
crowd?
in the arena. Yes.
Yeah.
Those two stood out to me. I wanted to know who they were more than anything that happened in this match. Swear to God. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not good, guys.
That is not good.
It's just bad. It reminds me of when WWE was hot, pre-WCW, kind of getting it together. I remember flipping past TBS in the mid-'80s and just being like, this isn't cool like WWF is, when it was like the early days, and that's what the Viking Raiders remind me of.
Yeah.
It's joking.
Yeah, it's too bad because they're talented dudes. You just look at them when they were the War Raiders in NXT, just at Takeover during WrestleMania weekend last year. I mean, those guys were on fire, and they've just been, with all the little enhancements and upgrades that they've had on the main roster, it's just been hurting them.
Yep.
So, Asuka versus Becky Lynch, a contract signing tonight for their championship match for the Raw Women's title at the Royal Rumble. As far as contract signings go, this actually was handled quite expediently with both of them signing the document to make the match. But then afterwards, Asuka sprayed green mist in Becky's eyes. Becky accordingly freaked out and they were trying to like cleanse her eyes. She demanded a mic and then cut very impassioned promo. What do you think of this, Matt, specifically in how they had Becky react? I mean, she really sold the Miss more than anyone else ever has, and then cut a very emotional promo, which, as we've discussed before, that can go either way. How do you think it came across tonight?
Because it was different, and because we thought we were going to go to black after this, that they were going to fade to black and go to commercial break, and then she went into her promo instead, was awesome. Different, totally different aesthetic feel to it. Completely different. There's more to this I want to talk about and address. It's Asuka's and her tag partners' energy. They had a ton of energy out there, so much so I almost wonder if it was tough for people to follow. Did they just look crazy? Is that supposed to be what they are now? Are they crazy? I liked it for what it's worth. Asuka's face paint, you know what I mean? Felt that it was different, or am I imagining that? I don't know. I thought the whole presentation between Asuka and her partner was a little bit different tonight. Super charismatic. By the same time I said they're crazy and all over the place, they felt super charismatic to me as well. And I don't know one word that they said in their ring.
Right.
I don't know. I like the stuff with that, but I know the end all be all supposed to be the promo that Becky cut. That's what this whole thing was to lead to and get to. And for that, I thought they did a good job of having Becky sound, like you said, impassioned, and it came out of nowhere, unexpected.
Raj, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought, I think Asuka and Kairi Sane have been killing this. They've been killing it with this heel turn. They've been doing great. They look very comfortable. They're trying to be annoying, but not so much that they look like an undercard act. You know, like they're still look like badasses and a threat, but you know, obviously also trying to get under the audience's skin. And I think Becky sold that miss better than I think I've ever seen anyone sell it. Like, with just really, like, I was starting to believe it for a minute, you know, like it took me out. She did a great job selling. I don't like the her playing kind of scared of Asuka. I just think that badass character again. I always think of Stone Cold. If I'm booking Becky, I'm booking her like Stone Cold, and Stone Cold is never scared. He's all, even if the odds are against him, he'll mention it, but he's still up to the challenge and not, you know, kind of, you know, down on himself and, you know, second guessing himself. But that aside, I thought Becky was really good here, and I thought that her promo was great. So I thought this was a good segment.
I just want to point out and commend how much liquid Matt Morgan drinks during this podcast. He never has to pee. I couldn't do it. For me, like that's why I limit myself to 1 cup of water, because I'm like, if I drink more than this and a soda, I'm gonna have to.
Sometimes I do.
Occasionally, I do. Very rarely. Very rarely. I'm very very impressed.
So Kevin Langhoff here is saying that while Sasha is his favorite wrestler, he thinks you should come back to WWE, Matt, and drop a blueprint promo on Sasha Banks. And thanks for the super chat.
Yeah, thanks for the super chat, dude. There'll be no money to make, though, because, again, it's guy can't just go in there and start freaking power bombing women wrestlers, right?
Unless you're an Impact.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I take that back then. Do you remember we used to say the opposite? What was it? Stephanie McMahon used to like Barry Mick Foley, then like Kurt Angle, and then like everybody, and then we're like, what's the payoff here? No one's ever going to be able to get their, you know, comeuppance on her. But
I remember Batista calling her out on that too on Twitter one time.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. This was before he came back last year, but she had tweeted something about slapping someone, and Batista just kind of ripped her for always slapping people and no one ever getting their comeuppance. I mean, no one ever getting their revenge. Yeah.
After this, we had Andrade with Zelina Vega, and this promo against Rey Mysterio. So next week they're gonna have a rematch for the U.S. title. Zelina did most of the talking here, but Andrade got very impassioned during the end. Ray cut a promo earlier. Matt, what do you think of this angle and how it's sort of playing out? This seems to exist very much in its own little bubble, apart from everything else going on Raw currently.
It does, and it feels. I think passion is a good word. All parties involved now. Even I'd say, all three. I like it. I like it now. Finally, I didn't like it at first.
I think Zelina is she's so great. I thought she was awesome here. I can't say enough good things about her. She's really good. And
She really is.
yeah, I'm looking forward to this ladder match, Andrade and Rey Mysterio next week. It should be awesome.
I want to ask this. Sean Wall in the chat's asking, Matt, do you have any advice on working for WWE? They have an interview for a design position doing merch. I know it's been a couple of years since you've been with the company, but Matt
says he says he has an interview for a design position doing merch tomorrow. Well, no, nothing on merch, my friend. Yeah, got nothing for you, bud.
My advice.
Good luck.
Yeah, and act like you're not a fan.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Act like you're not a mark, and act like you don't follow any wrestling sites.
And shake everybody's hand and look at them in the eye. Right. Firm handshake. And say their name. Remember their name. It's also good.
Oh, yeah, good point.
My advice for any interview, and I've found this when interviewing people and whatnot, is send a thank you letter either later that night or the next day. So many people forget to do that. And I kid you not, it always, always helps in everything I've ever gone for. And everyone I know that does that, that's normally the little edge that helps you get a position. Anyhow.
And if people ask, what's your biggest weakness? Don't say that you work too hard.
Yes, or you care too much.
Right, you care.
Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy. I think we talked about this last week, Matt. This is now 3 times Buddy has stepped to him. Aleister even saying he's his perfect opponent, but what does it do? I understand they're going somewhere bigger with this at the end, but at the same time, does it kill his street cred if he doesn't pick up a single win in 3 matches, especially 3 excellent matches like this against 2 guys that their positioning is so evenly matched?
For who?
For Buddy Murphy. I mean, he once again
it
failed
did
to
until
win.
Tonight. It did until tonight. It did until tonight. Because who's to say that in the wrestling context that Seth Rollins was looking to add a 4th member to this group, stable of his this whole time, and these 3 almost wins is what finally made Seth choose him, or whatever the hell. There's millions of different ways you can book that. Do you know what I mean? But it wouldn't have been a great. I don't think it was smart to have him lose. We're going right into this angle, but still, the outcome for me is still great, though. I don't care. Interview advice: call everyone as your ponies.
and George, or whoever's having the interview tomorrow, also be like, and these fans, they're so stupid to buy everything. So I'm just going to design you like 50 different ideas because they're going to buy one of each, and we're going to make them collectible. Like these kids with their money and these marks. Probably not the best angle to take.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. If they didn't do that closing angle with Buddy Murphy, I would have thought this made him look really bad. Losing 3 times in a row, not winning once, and really not having any victories in the middle, unless I missed one. Again, I was gone for a couple weeks and I'm not totally caught up. But
I think he had 1, but that's still not enough.
He won a match against somebody.
A match. Didn't he win a match, Glenn?
Yeah, but not against Aleister Black. So this is the 3rd time they've faced each other.
No.
Gotcha. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is one of those things. The fact that it is the 3rd time, I wonder if the ratings would go down for this match, just because I don't know if it's in the 3rd hour. There's a big college football. The college championships, the national championships was on tonight. I don't know.
I don't think people would care, even if Buddy Murphy won.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that would have changed the ratings one.
I don't either. I think just with this match being on, I think the ratings will drop during that quarter hour.
Definitely.
Interview advice: let them know you're best friends with Vince Russo.
Michael McFarland suggested sneezing and smoking will also go a long way. Oh man. It's too bad Justin's not on tonight. We could conduct a mock interview. Not that Vince is interviewing, but still. That would be something. Anyhow, Eric. Okay, so after that, Buddy Murphy sat there looking dejected, didn't want to talk at all. And according to Wrestling Inc., this was the 4th match that Black has gone over Murphy. I thought it was only 3. But Murphy sat just looking dejected, didn't want to talk to anyone. And then we had Erick Rowan versus enhancement talent. Eric went to show what was in the mystery cage, but then got bit, I believe. Bloody hand, did an iron claw on the enhancement talent, got an easy win after that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Matt, are you over the cage?
I'm over the cage. I'm not over him continuing to win, though. I hope it goes somewhere. But it's not. It's going to go for him to be fed to eventually to a semi-main event talent level wrestler.
Is this going to be a anonymous Raw GM thing where they never reveal, what's in the cage, or do you think they're going to? Because
I think there's nothing. I think there's nothing wrong with that, actually, Glenn, Raj. I think that's a smart move if I'm WWE, because what do you say it is?
Right.
What is it that could bite like that? That could bite your face?
And that spits something. Someone was tweeting at us. I wish I had the tweet.
Spits blood.
Yeah, but there's a reptile. There's, I believe, an Asian reptile that spits red something out of its eyes. I don't know. Just saying there is a possibility, but it's just not going to be fulfilling or satisfying.
The Zedge thing, I'll never understand releasing Luke Harper over Erick Rowan.
Harper asked,
yeah.
Yeah. But part of that was because they weren't using him at all, too.
Yeah.
Do you really think, hang on, do you guys, to the guy who wrote that, do you really think Luke Harper is jealous and wishes he was in this angle right now versus being at home and doing whatever the hell he wants to do? I know, man. I promise that's not what's happening. He's probably excited about being able to wrestle with some freedom. He's a great talent. He can do a lot more. When you're as good as he is, you're going to want to go. That's a big part of why you do the art of wrestling, is because you look at it as an art form. And he does. He totally does. Versus this crap.
I think it's also, Matt, you've talked about this before. As a performer, there's some guys that have a lot of ambition. They believe in themselves and they're willing to bet on themselves. And there are other guys who are more than happy to collect a paycheck, and no disrespect to them. That's a respectable way to earn a living. But if you're not ambitious, you
got to provide a living for your family, right? You got to provide money. So I think you do it for a little bit until you put your money aside and you're smart with your money. You've invested, whatever have you. And then push has got to come to a shove eventually if you have any heart in this whatsoever. And you know what I mean? I don't know. I couldn't just sit there and just collect a paycheck. I don't know. Call me a mark. And most people would say that. Most people from that I started wrestling with, you know what I mean? My elder statesmen would say, you're a mark. Your job is to make as much money as possible, to put food on the table for your family. Don't be a mark for yourself. But it's kind of hard not to when you grow up a little boy wanting to do this your whole life and wanting to be a world champion and things like that, right? It's hard to drown that out as well.
So it'll be interesting in 2 months. Harper will be free to do what he wants, and Matt Hardy will, if he's been making it clear he's not very happy, he'll be a free agent on March 1st.
Dark Order. He's going to be the leader of Dark Order.
Oh, God, I hope not. That's the rumor, but I don't think Matt can say that. I mean, he would give it a boost for a couple of weeks, but
Glenn, what was after that? I apologize.
No, after that was the fist fight. The 3-on-3 fist fight. They built a match around the least convincing looking attack in all of professional wrestling. A fist fight to main event tonight with the Big Show, Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe versus the Authors of Pain and Seth Rollins. Coming down to the ring, they all start attacking Big Show. A lot of this action happened out of the ring. Actually, not as many punches as you'd expect for a fist fight, probably because everyone's punches kind of look like crap, and that's not specific. I'm just trying to think of a single wrestler that throws a convincing punch. But yeah, this ended up with it being a last man standing, essentially before the ref would declare that a team couldn't go on. So Buddy Murphy, Rollins recruited him to get involved in helping to take down Big Show because off the ramp and the announce desk, that's where Joe and Kevin Owens got taken out. So then you had everyone teaming up on Big Show. Rollins ultimately going with the stomp. But after Rollins and AOP won this, was Buddy Murphy walking with them. And now they are a group of 4 going off the air tonight.
Yeah.
I've said everything I could say. I love this. I love this a lot, and that's really it. Ad nauseum. I've said this like 5 times already. Why I like it. I like this for him.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a good closing angle. I thought we'll see how they follow up, but I liked it too.
So we got other stuff to talk about tonight. Raj, what else is going on in the world of wrestling?
Well, we talked about Marty Scurll re-signing with ROH, so he's going to be there.
Does that mean he's not with NWA anymore?
So he still can work other promotions. So he can work NWA, ROH. I mean, New Japan. So he will be working the next NWA pay-per-view. So yeah, he's still with NWA. Tessa Blanchard won the Impact World Heavyweight Championship, first woman to win the Impact World title at Hard to Kill this past weekend. But that was kind of overshadowed because of a lot of women coming out against Tessa. Now, Tessa had tweeted out, she tweeted out on Saturday, she wrote, "Hey, women, try supporting one another. Cool things happen." And I think she really regrets putting that tweet out because then Chelsea Green attacked her for saying that she would bully her and other countless female coworkers. And then Allison Kay replied and said, "Remember when you spat in a black woman's face and called her the N-word in Japan? Was that you supporting women? The audacity of this tweet." And Chelsea Green replied and said, "I remember that." Several other women came out, Big Swole, Kiera Hogan. So yeah, it was a bad look for Tessa. Tessa took to Twitter. Originally, she denied those, but then finally, the woman who she was accused of spitting in her face, La Rosa, she came out and said that the story was true. Now, they had a match in 2017 for Stardom in Japan, and then they had a big brawl in the back, and it got super heated. They got in a fight. And that's allegedly where Tessa said it. Now, only a few people were there, but yeah. So that was kind of that. But Impact, they did not change their plans, and Tessa is still winning the title. So yeah.
Man,
are you sure it was La Rosa? It was La Rosa, or was it
Black Rose? Is what her name translates to.
From Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
She really? I did a gimmick. I did a spot with her. She was the manager of. Oh God, who was it when I was in Puerto Rico? The guy Val Venus stole his entrance from. What was his name? El Bronco. She was El Bronco's manager when I was there. She's been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Many years. Damn, that's a shame though that happened to her. That's true.
Yeah, if it's true, again,
she's cool.
Yeah, I don't see her lying, so, but we weren't in the room, so who knows?
True.
So yeah, that's a
big deal. She won the men's championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Impact seems to just have this. I mean, regardless of Tessa's actions, which again, if true, absolutely deplorable, but Impact seems to be cursed at this point. That there's nothing they can do that somehow doesn't end with them worse off than they were before.
Which is crazy when you think about it, right? You'd think like a woman winning the male championship would be front page news, right? I didn't see anything about that today.
Yeah.
Again, it's Impact. China won the Intercontinental title, 20, what was it, 20? Was it 30 years ago?
Impact's World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah. But
a belt I don't believe Matt Morgan ever held, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
Not many people have. I mean, so yeah, it's we'll see what happens. But yeah, not a controversial weekend for Tessa for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of controversy, Triple H got in a little trouble.
Yeah. So he was doing a media scrum, talking to members of the media, and he made a crack. He said something about Paige, and then he wrote, and they were talking about Paige and Edge possibly returning, and he said, When you're talking about people as talented as Edge, Paige, who wouldn't want them to return? I'm a fan just like everybody else. Yeah, I would love to see them step into the ring and compete, but more importantly than that, though, I'd love to see them live long, healthy lives. You know, Edge has kids. Paige, maybe she probably has some she doesn't know of. So the room started.
Yeah.
I mean, so Triple H is Michael Scott. We've confirmed with this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's something I could easily see him saying back in the DX days. You know, that kind of a crack. But you know, having been an executive for this long, and to say it's stupid is an understatement. So Renee Young replied and said, "Big love to Paige." Oh, so Paige replied and said, "Even my boss jokes about me. No wonder you guys still do it too." Renee Young wrote, "Big love to Paige. She's been to hell and back, but still some people want to make jokes. We need, and she deserves, a real change." And then the Bella twins tweeted, "We will never see the true change in equality if we just see them as storylines. Change in a company starts from the top. Our leaders help set the example. For us women, we need all the help we can get. Help with respect from our coworkers and fans. We are all one love." So,
I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think he meant it maliciously, but I absolutely get why it was tone deaf. I mean, similar to when they included Charlotte's brother's suicide in a storyline. Just like, why do you do this shit that you know is going to be received poorly?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think also he would not. Triple H wouldn't have made that crack about Ronda Rousey or Charlotte Flair, right? So, I don't know.
Well,
but it is, you know, it's it was a dumb thing to say.
Yeah, it's 2020, man. It's 2020. Anyhow, do we have a more upbeat note, Raj, here? I feel like, you know, this is just all controversy and the tense times we live in.
Yeah, Diamond Dallas Page returned to the ring on Wednesday. We've got an exclusive interview with him. I talked to him last week. He talks about this is going to be his 6th decade, I think he said, where he'll be wrestling a match. Is that right? 80s, 90s, 0s, 1s, 2s, fifth decade.
Oh, and I want to apologize for there's Reed Flair. The official cause of death was an overdose. I apologize for that. I know some people speculated, but I don't want to be incorrect about that. I'm sorry, Raj. Continue.
Yeah. So we got Diamond Dallas Page, Jake the Snake Roberts, a bunch of cool stuff. So yeah, it's it'll be a cool week here on the site. And Royal Rumble coming up. It doesn't feel like it really from TV. It doesn't. It's just kind of there.
Yep.
Considering it's kind of like the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. But we'll see how they do it with the go home next week.
Yeah. AEW is going to be interesting versus NXT. What do you think, Raj, your 2 cents on the AEW versus NXT ratings from last Wednesday?
I think NXT, it seems like they're in trouble. I mean, I think this is one of the things we've talked about a lot in the past, where AEW looks major league. It feels lively. I found NXT kind of hard to watch last week. You know, in general, the atmosphere and everything, I always say it every week. But then on top of that, it just seemed like just mid-carder after mid-carder. Like nothing was important. So, and AEW, you know, they had a bad show, the last show of the year, left on a bad note, and I think they learned from that. And yeah, I think they're doing a lot more right than NXT is right now. I think NXT has to move out of Full Sail. It's going to catch up to them. But I mean, they destroyed NXT last week. 89% in the demo, they beat them by. So I mean, that's a big number. NXT didn't finish in the top 50 in cable that night in the demo. So it's a cause for concern, and we'll see if it continues this week.
Yeah. Hey, DDP is wrestling a match in 2020. We're living in the future.
Yeah. And MJF, who's on the other side, is MJF, Blake, and Blade against DDP. Oh, gosh, who are the other two? Dustin Rhodes and, what's that guy's name?
Oh, the one that we said, who in the hell is this guy and why is he in the match?
Yeah, him. The MJF now, he was under contract with the MLW and AEW. His MLW contract has expired. He's now just exclusively AEW. So, yeah, MJF finished up with the MLW this past weekend.
Yeah, there you have it. We'll be back here Wednesday night.
QT. That's
yes.
What it was.
Back here Wednesday. Raj, what's the lineup this week? So I'm going to be out Friday of this week. So we have Justin Wednesday night with me and Matt?
Yeah, Justin, the Wednesday night crew, you two and Justin. And then I think I'll be filling in for you on Friday.
Sounds good. He's at BP Matt Morgan. He's at Raj Giri _303. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein, Wrestling Inc., top source for all the latest wrestling news. And we'll catch you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.